Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on, travelers? It's Ricky Ventures and Marlon Madden, and we're back with you for another episode of the Success Journey Show. What's going on, Marlon? How you doing today?
Man, I tell Ricky, put on your best dress, your Sunday's best, and look what he got on.
Got on my hoodie, man. I was all dressed. I was dressed well all day today, man. I had to get comfortable, man. I ended up falling asleep a little bit too, man. I turned off my computer around 6 o'clock, sat down. Man, I was watching Family Feud, man. I don't ever watch TV because I had no practices today.
Yeah.
First
Oh,
time
wow.
in like months, I had had no practices whatsoever. So I didn't know what to do with myself. So I'm sitting down and I was laughing with my sister-in-law. I was like, man, you know what? As I'm sitting here, I'm thinking like, man, let me go build an app. I think I can go build an app right now. And she's like, I'm like, yo, what's wrong with me, man? Like what's wrong? Like, just sit down.
Bro, sit down. Bro, just sit down. Why can't we do it? Man, we gotta find out. We probably bring us. I hate talking to psychologists really. But bring somebody that has the same situation like us, like just workaholic. Not I wouldn't call it workaholic. You just feel like you always have to be. You're creative. I think that's what it
creative.
is.
That's what it is. That's what it is. The creative. Yep. Creators always got to be creative. That's when they feel like they're doing something. If they're not, they're like, I'm sitting there. I'm like, yo, why the heck am I thinking about building an app right now? I'm like, yo, I can do it in like maybe get an hour and a half. Try to put something together real quick. And I was like, you know what? Now let me just sit here. And the next thing you know, I was knocked out for a good 30 minutes. Woke up. I was like, yeah, this feels good. This feels good. So yeah. I don't know why I went on that tangent, but
no, you're good. Swing trainer. Let's talk about that swing trainer, Rick.
Oh, yes, sir. Swing trainer. Ooh, when is this episode coming out? Oh, it's not going to come out next week. All right. So
next week, yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys were already seeing, man, we have a new site coming, a new website coming. It's just all about listening to feedback, right? Feedback from customers. And, we want to make sure everything is nice and crisp. So we took the time, our development team took the time to put a lot of the feedback into action, man. Got a new site coming. We were working last weekend, getting some more product ready. Man, it's just this journey. Like I really fell in love with the journey of figuring this thing out. And we have the swing trainer for anyone that's out there. Like, what is a swing trainer? We're not talking about swing-in trainer, a swing trainer.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm not laughing. I'm not with them. People, I'm not with them.
The elite
swinger trainer. Yeah. Yo, why my sites is getting all these hits?
I know, right? Oh, the elite swing trainer. And what it does is for baseball, softball. Like we say every week, but I'll say it again for that person that just tuning in today for the first time on our show. It helps prevent casting, early extension, rolling over, helps you perfect your swing path to the ball. So in baseball and softball, we love it, man. We've been getting the product in a lot of different areas. I get so excited when I see a new state purchase it. People are commenting about it.
Yes.
People are really enjoying the product. So man, it's crazy, man. When you have something that's on paper in your hand, then in somebody else's hand, something that you produced, right? And you're seeing videos of people using it all over, right? And that right there, it's just, man, my hands built that, man. My hands, people are using it and seeing the value out of it. So, man, we're excited about it and definitely looking forward for the continued growth of it. So,
yes, sir. If you guys really wondering, like I came down, I went, Rashad was wrestling, had 2 wrestling. He got beaten one, the other one he won. and then took him to basketball practice. And then I flew back like because we usually have this on Monday, let you know there's a Wednesday. And I was like, oh man, I got a podcast episode there. I pulled it from the practice. We jumped in the Vic and then we came straight over here. So, and it's a half an hour drive away. So but
I don't think they were wondering though.
No, they're gonna be like, why is Marlon in a suit? Why is Marlon in a suit?
No, they were wondering. Don't mess with you.
I don't want him to think this is gonna be the norm. I'm not gonna be up here in no daggone suit. Like my name is Pastor Matt.
Oh man, yeah, right. Like you're a coach, man. You're coaching tonight. You're coaching
I was coaching tonight.
Oh man, the lapel and everything.
Yes,
but
sir.
yeah, travelers like remember, like always go to our website. See a lot of different things on there. A lot of things that we're involved in. Go on social media. Not only to the Success Journey Show page, but you can go to some of our personal pages as well. Some other activities that are happening. We're just excited to have life and be with our families. Man, I got to mention this one, man. I just got news yesterday that a good buddy of mine passed away last week, and a guy that I worked with. And that one, it hit me hard, man, because it hit me hard more so because something told me to reach out to him like a month ago. And I got so busy with what I was doing, I didn't even do it. I didn't even make the phone call. And then all of a sudden I get news in the email, say, hey, Rick, check this out. And I'm just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Gotta be kidding me. So man, just prayers out to his family. Left behind 2 daughters, a wife. And I just know, man, it's just heartbreaking, man, to know that he's gone. Young man too, young. So it's just heartbreaking, broken. So all the love goes out to his family. Praying for you. And it's not just him, there's so many people in the world that are going through suffering and different things, houses burning down, families being displaced. There's a lot of things going on people are dealing with, man. And sometimes you can get so caught up in what you're doing every single day that you don't you go through your normal routine. And my sons and I were driving from school today, back home, and all of a sudden we hear a big crash. And they heard the noise, and I automatically knew what it was. Somebody ran into the back of somebody, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and like 4 cars back, there it was. Someone that's ran to the back of somebody. I'm just like, see, it just
that could have been you.
Yeah, it could have been me. Could have been me. And I told my boys, it's just a split second that something like that can happen. That's why you don't be on your cell phones when you're driving. People are driving, like stay off of it, because it's just that split second. You don't know. You don't know if someone else is going to hit you, right? And the crazy part about it, man, I know I'm going on, but the crazy part about it is all I could think about is like, man, if that happened, how much my day would just have been screwed up.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
All the things that I got to do.
You got to do. Now you got to, everything is pushed to the right.
This. So, and I know you can't control everything. Everything's not in your control, but control the things that you can control. Be safe out there, driving. Be alert. Stay off cell phones, and I know that's something I really have to deal with myself, right? So, yeah, guys, man, we got an exciting podcast and guest coming to you. But before we go there, we'll have this commercial. Hit out the commercial. And sorry, I gotta say this, because usually I don't go back and listen to our podcast, but sometimes I do. I did a couple weeks ago. Sorry for all those that you hear this music and you don't. You just hear smacking of the ball sounds, right?
Oh, yeah. For the people that's listening,
it's a video of the swing trainer. So just go on YouTube and watch it, right? If not, just fast forward, hit the 30-second forward button, and you just get to the rest of the podcast.
That's crazy that it's not going to translate over, because you go there, they just hear the music, they hear smack.
Yeah, the smack. Like, you hear smack for a minute. You just hear it smacking.
Travelers, like we said, like we always say, we're at the portion of the show where you want to see. You don't want to hear me and Ricky run our mouth. You want to hear about our guests and what the kind of good things they have going.
Yes,
and
sir.
today I have a special guest. I met this young lady on.
Nice work already. Thank you.
I dressed up. Ricky did it, people.
I like
So
He didn't
so I
tell me,
met this-
man. He didn't tell me.
So I met this young lady and she helped me out tremendously. And then she said something that she said, yeah, pilot. And I said, who's a pilot? She said, I'm a pilot. I said, oh, we definitely got to get you on. Because as you know, we had a couple of weeks ago, we had Tim Hurley on and he's a pilot. And I was like, we got to get both perspectives because, and it's not airing today, but today is National Women's Day.
International Women's Day.
It is
International Women's Day.
Yeah.
I expect everyone to be sending me drinks.
There you go, right?
Hey, before we get into the show, let me introduce none other than Jed. Jed, how are you
Hi,
doing?
Marlon. Hi, Jimmy. How you guys doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Wonderful.
Well,
Hey, so we could get the formalities out the way. Just introduce yourself to our audience and let them know a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Hey, but listen, before I say that, like, I'll wait till the end and I'll give you my address where you can send the drinks. Okay. Because I listen.
It's Chardonnay. Chardonnay.
yeah, whatever.
Oh no, I'm a red wine. No, red wine.
Red
It's
wine.
Not no, it's
Straight
not
red
a
wine,
whiskey.
yeah.
Okay, I'm a pilot. Hey, I said that within the first minute. Okay, so I listened to your podcast with your Navy pilot, and he didn't even mention that. Like he talked on and on about how he was like, he's the Top Gun instructor and stuff. He didn't even say like, I'm a pilot. Like that's the first thing you have to say. Like within a minute. Like if you don't, like you owe drinks to the like bar because. Especially if you're single and you're trying to hit on people, especially.
Oh wow, we didn't even know that, man. If I
Hey,
would've
Rick,
known-
so we're going to use that. We're going to use, do I look like a pilot? Do I look like
You should. You should.
I look
And
like-
not only that, but like after you introduce yourself as a pilot, I'm the best pilot. Because just in case there's other pilots around, you have to establish dominance.
There you go.
Especially
I
when you
knew-
can't even, there's nothing to compete in. Like, what are you going to jump into an F-16? And show
Yeah.
off?
Let's go. Prove it. Yeah.
Just establish dominance. Like, I'm the better pilot, obviously. So,
Oh, man, I
man.
love it.
I just want
love
to say
it.
that out loud. Okay. So Marlon, my background, thank you so much for having me on. This is a pleasure. You guys are super fun. I am an Air Force helicopter pilot, which trumps anybody else. I'm better than anybody else. But I was an Army brat. My dad was in the Army, which I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Army parents are the best recruiters to the Air Force. I thought I wanted to go to West Point. So my dad took me out to West Point and I saw they had bars on the outside of their windows, which means that keeps the inmates in, right? So
Yeah.
then he was so prescient. He thought Jen Aupke is a super prepared person who cares about everything, who cares about her future, and she wants to go to the Air Force Academy. So the day after prom, I was dating a Army private, I don't know, E3. I don't know if that's private, corporal maybe.
Oh,
E3.
my.
Yeah, we lived in Fort Bragg. And so he's like, my dad bought plane tickets at 7 a.m. out of Raleigh on the day after prom. So Jen was home by 9 p.m. on her like prom night. I think I went and had like one dance. I was back home in my bed and we drove out and we flew to Colorado Springs and we landed and it was just like Shangri-La. Like we landed in Colorado
Wow.
Springs, drove up. And have you been to Colorado Springs?
I've been to Colorado Springs.
Have you seen the Air Force Academy?
I haven't seen the Air Force Academy, but I don't think they'll let me on. I'm a Marine. I don't let.
Probably not. But
Yep.
like
I'll
you
probably
can
eat
drive
all the
by it.
crayons. Yeah.
I-25. You can drive by it on I-25. You can like went from way far away, and you can see like it's just this crystal palace on the carved on the side of the mountain. And I was like, yeah, you know what? And I got to stay a couple days and meet people. And yeah, they didn't have bars on the outside of the windows. I'm like, yep, this is where I want.
This is where I want to be. This is where I want to be. And no bars on the windows.
And better than the Naval Academy too. Like I don't know, I fell in love. So never had. I know you like that, right? Go Air Force, beat Navy. But I love people. I was going and at that time in 2000s, like in the 97 to 2000s, to show a little bit of my age. I'm not that old, but like when I graduated, I had to go to pilot training. That was just the thing. Like and there was no choice in that. Like unless you had a broken back or you had a scholarship to Oxford, you had to go to the academy or you had to go to pilot training. So I was like, well, I'll go to pilot training. And because I'd been so close to infantry and my dad was 82nd, and I was a big passion. I mean, when we lived in Fort Bragg, we were right against the gates for Fort Bragg. So we saw Apaches and Chinooks and all the time flying over. And I was like, you know what? I want to be right there. I want to be right there in the fight. I don't want to be up with an F-15.
You're good. You're
I should
good.
show you a picture. Like here, I'm even gonna do like F-15 that's gonna just drop bombs and like not really be part of the fight. That's my boyfriend's picture. And like not be in, a tanker that's gonna be delivering gas. Like I want to be right down in it. I want to make sure that I'm there in the fight, and like I gotta fight my way in and I gotta fight my way out. And the best way I found to do that was combat search and rescue.
Wow.
Man. Yeah. So like that mission is, we go in when an airman or a soldier or whatever, Marlon, right? Like when it's their worst day, like they're getting shot up and they have no escape. I will tell a good Marine story here in a little bit, but like they are dying or bleeding out, whatever it is. It's eyesight, limb, or, life. And so that's when we go in and the enemy already knows that we're going in. So we have to like figure out how to, it's like a, a math problem to get in and then to get out. And I'm leading 12 men. It's just the coolest thing in the world to do, and also, as well as the super most rewarding, it's also like the super worst if you can't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I can imagine, man.
I want to hear that Marine story.
Oh yeah.
Look at my face.
Look at your face. I want to hear that Marine story. All right, so we're in Afghanistan, and I got called that there was the Marines got into a big tick and troops in contact, right? And they got shot up. One of their guys was bleeding out, and it was dark night. There was a bunch of RASs, those I don't even remember what it stood for, but RAS, like where the big umbrellas are, where A-10s, Apaches were shooting enemy forces. Yep. We'd fly around it to get to the Marines. Okay, so we have signaling devices, and we all know what the signaling devices are. And when I'm talking to an American, I tell them to activate their signaling device, like they know to do it. Well, I told this Marine, I thought just one Marine, to turn on a signaling device, and the whole just field, like a mile by a mile, everybody had their signaling device on. You could just tell, like, all these young, awesome Marines that were out there just like giving their life to their country just did not want a helicopter to land on them. And I had to recalibrate in my mind of like, okay, how do I tell these 18 to 20-year-olds like
turn off your signal device? Yeah.
It's cool, bro. I'm not landing on you. But I need to land to the guy that's bleeding out. Like, how do I communicate that in a way that doesn't give away his position, my position, or what we're doing in the area? That was one of my more fun. Like,
man.
Hey, you gave an instruction and everybody followed. Hey, good on you guys. Good on you.
I was like, okay, these signaling devices. Cool. I just need the signaling device at this location, and I can't disclose what that was. But
yeah.
Just one person turn it on, everybody else off.
Yeah. Hey, I could tell. Military folks were kind of different. And I could tell that if you and I were in the same location, it would be pandemonium, because I could tell you have that hint of crazy, because you have to have it in order to do that job. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. Yeah. You have to be like, people are shooting down there. There's a chance I could get shot, especially in Afghanistan. Surface to ear was a big deal out there. But they're like, and you say, hey, turn on your signal light, and up there you're chuckling like, ha ha ha, look at these dumb Marines. Hey, turn on your signal light. I need to get to this guy right there.
They're so sweet, but they're just like, oh my God. They just don't want to get landed on by a helicopter. I get it. Like, right? Like in the human experience, like I get it. You don't want to get landed on by a helicopter. So what's the best way to do that? Don't make the whole thing, light up the whole thing. So
light up the whole thing.
Yeah, light it all up, man. You ain't hitting me. Man.
So let me brothers and sisters, what only child?
Oh yeah. I have one of each younger. I'm the oldest.
So did any fall in your footstep? What's the deal? No.
Oh, you're the one that bit it and went
They
with
got
it.
enough of Vietnam.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that's a thing. They had enough of Vietnam. Yeah. I mean, my younger brother, he became an HVAC guy. My mother, I mean, I don't know what happened in high school. I've heard rumors of like drugs and all that stuff. I don't know. He's a great human. He's an amazing human. He got his life straight and he's a HVAC guy. My sister married a Marine who, I mean, and not to, I hate this, but well, Marine reservist, also a state trooper, and he committed suicide when he came back from Iraq. So
Wow.
Man, sorry to hear that.
yeah, it's impactful, right? Like, because we were in Iraq together. I tried to fly out to him, and then we came back, and I'm, if there's ever an opportunity, and especially if there's anybody in your audience that listens to this, I'm a huge advocate of like that post deployment, like the reset where you get the time where you get to be with your squadron and you talk to the people that were in that moment with you, and now you're back in normal civilization. How you process
No one
that?
understands.
Correct.
Yeah.
No one. I mean, and I love to tell the story, and not to make light of something, but it's the truth. Like, there's those motivational posters that we all see, like with the slogans, but somebody did a meme on it that says, with these two guys that are out, they're kitted, they got all their stuff on them, and they're like, so like badass, and they're looking around the corner, they're like shooting at bad people. And the thing at the top says PTSD, and at the bottom it says, because you'll never be this badass ever again. I think that's a big thing for military people. And I mean, not to like just throw out a whole bunch of things for everybody to process at the same time. I think that's what my brother-in-law went through a little bit, because, he didn't get the time to decompress. He went straight back on the road as a state trooper, and he didn't get to talk about things. And I think there was a lot going on in his life he just didn't get to process.
What time frame was that?
2008.
Yeah, that's 2008. It had ramped up again in Iraq real bad. There 2004, 2005, and then I know 2008 it ramped up again real bad. And and at that time, you got to think about it. I know people will be like, "Well, we were at war since 2002. We should have figured it out." But that wasn't the wasn't the most important portion. It was getting the person to the fight, right? So
at that time, yeah,
we the military have done a way better job of having people come forward that have PTSD and not making you think like you're weak. The military have done a better post-deployment outfit.
I would argue with that, Marlon. I will say no.
You would? I think but maybe because what I got in the beginning, I got way more when I went the second and third and fourth time.
Yeah.
That first time you came back, it was like you land, and then I went back to New York. I'm active, so I went to New York. Me and Ricky, and we're just chilling up there, and everybody's just, and you just seen some stuff, and you're like, oh, but you're back in New York. It wasn't really a heavy post. This time now, when I came back, my last time, they don't let you just leave. They have a whole time frame for you to do the decompression with the unit.
So I was talking to a young lady 2 days ago who's she's competing for Miss Arizona, and she made Miss Mesa, and one of her big things is like she wants to do better for military in PTSD, and she's talking about, she said she's talked to a couple different psychologists, and some of them said, well, there's some people that are just more resilient to dealing with those things. And I was like, I cannot imagine anyone who is resilient to being in the back of my helicopter watching medics work on somebody, and they take their flight glove off, and the flight glove takes off their whole hand. Like, I think that's not a human experience that we're ready for. You can never be prepared for that. Yeah, unless you are specifically a medic who trains all the time to seeing that kind of, it comes to training. It's not that I personally don't think, unless you think of sociopathy as something that's like more of a brain chemistry that's able to like deal with those kind of things. But like, if a psychologist is telling a Miss America candidate that like, there's people that can handle those things, and then there's other people that can't, that just, it bothers me, because I hate the disorder portion of it. Like, we humans in combat, and I love America. I love my country so much. I would go to combat for them every freaking day. But like, you can't send somebody downrange and expect them to experience those things and be normal. Like you
Yeah, they
just,
can't.
Correct.
it's
Yeah.
it's not
You're right.
it's not the human experience.
No.
You're right.
Anyway,
You're right.
I am very
No.
passionate about
We
it.
have
No, but
we've had you don't know him, Gunnisar and Gallegos. If you go back to some of our episodes, Gunnisar and Gallegos was in Iraq as a corporal. He was in LAV or AAV, one of them, and got blown up, got 80% burnt, and still a Marine today.
Yeah.
So he was infantry, and because he came back, he went to San Antonio to the burn unit down there, and fought his way to stay in the Marine Corps. Now he's admin, and he's going. I think he's just ready to touch 20 years. And he talked about the whole process. Also, we had somebody that was in the special forces, right? He worked with special forces, and he did all that kind of stuff, right? Combat stuff. But when he was in training back in the States is when he got hurt, that he got paralyzed, and they told his wife to pull the plug.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about it.
Pull the plug because he wasn't going to live anymore, and he's still alive. So we've talked to people, and so this is not a subject that you got to think that I can't touch on or I can't speak on here, because I've lost friends to PTSD, and that I've had my instances, but it's a very touchy subject. It's a subject that I think some people can't even explain, and because they can't explain it, they just say what that person said, because I have a degree on the wall, and I have to just say that. And I have my thoughts. Sometimes I have to change it about what PTSD. So it's a very touchy subject, and it's a subject that I think we have not even seen the blunt of it, because the after effects, it could be 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road that somebody breaks down and have that after effect. So
we are very blessed right now because we have a supportive populace, right? Like the country cares about our veterans, and they really are supportive. I mean, I get out every day, thank you for your service, and I'm like, thank you for your support. But like, with Vietnam, we saw those ramifications of that mental burden very quickly. I think we will see that, but it won't be. I mean, I don't know if you've seen recently, like today, I think they released the testimony of the people that were in the evacuation for Afghanistan. Like some of those soldiers that were there, it just, golly, man, like there's just a lot to process there. And to say that it's a disorder bothers me, because it, and there's a great author, Lieutenant Colonel, I always want to call him Grossman. He's a former soft guy he wrote On Combat, On Killing. He's a great psychologist because he's been in it. He's a special forces commander, but at the same time, like he was able to like break down some of the things that we've done preparatory, like you said a little bit more, and you kind of alluded to the fact that we train so that we can do these things. We can kill other humans. We can we can project this national power, but at the same time, like there's like, while we've done some of the work, like it's not a disorder, but at the same time, it's not natural for us to be in.
Correct. It's not natural. I always tell that to Ricky. Yeah. You're landing in a place where you're saying somebody's trying to kill me and I'm trying to kill them. And that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And then after that 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, however long you stay, you come back to the States, you land, and it's winning hearts and minds. And I got to walk into a thing and some guy is complaining about, oh, the line is too long and I'm behind it, and I feel like I want to just take his head and push it through the wall, because you haven't experienced what real, you know what I'm saying? So, or I'm at my mother's house in the Bronx and I hear them stumping upstairs and it sounds like incoming. You know what I'm saying? So you start, or you come back and you're used to having your weapon 24/7, and then every time you get up, you're like, "Where's my weapon?" Right?
You're checking yourself. I cannot get my boyfriend to understand, like, stop slamming the bathroom, like the toilet. Like, stop it. Because I just want to draw a weapon. I just want to like fucking shoot back. Like, it's just, that's the sound of an RPG. That's the sound of like an AK-47. That's the sound of the shit that I had to go through. Like, stop it.
I don't want to make light of it when I say this, but I couldn't imagine being in it, because when I play paintball or laser tag, my adrenaline is high. And that's not even real.
That's not even real. Correct.
Real. And my adrenaline is like pumping, being in the woods, playing paint. I'm like, man, imagine if this was a real bullet flying past my head right now. Like it. So I all respect to you guys for um just being in the moment of that. And not just in the moment of it, but even on the back end of it right now, right?
That's a
Living through
great
it
point though, Jimmy. Like
outside of
that's
it.
great training
Yeah,
mentally,
yeah,
to like put yourself, I mean, even though it's not, it's not mortality, it's not your mortality you're facing, at least you're like facing some kind of danger.
Right.
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
how many Americans put themselves in those situations to even maybe like understand or even try to empathize.
Yeah.
No. But to Jen, going back a little bit, the little ways, it's it just seemed like it was just innate in you. Like this is something that it was your path that you were going down, right? And figuring out where you're going to go in that path, as you explained to us when the choice that you made with the Air Force. But on that journey, was there ever any doubt? Like, man, is this where I really need to be, or should I have done something else? Or man, am I back over here deployed again? Like, should I be here? Like, talk to us about that.
Okay, so I'll start out with like, I mean, I think everyone has that human experience, like especially when they're young. Like I was 18 at the Air Force Academy, and I was staring at my dorm ceiling, thinking, and Marlon making time, I was like, right, and this, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, all the things. I don't know if I can do this. The second time I've had that feeling, well, I chose, of course, I can do this. Second time I had that feeling where I just stared at my ceiling was when I was in Iraq, and I was in the only female dorm, and we realized that there was a king cobra underneath my pooch.
Mm.
And it's like,
Oh my
Mm.
goodness.
and the guy, the snake guys that were on base, right? They're like, no, it's fine, just don't bother. Just don't bother it. It'll be fine. Just don't upset it. I'm like, holy crap, y'all. Like I am in this dorm by myself, and there's a king cobra that lives underneath me, and I don't know what it would eat. I feel like it could
Exactly.
eat
What
me,
what
but
makes it upset? Like, what is it? What makes it upset? I don't know. Yeah, right.
I don't even know. I don't even know. I mean, I lived through it, obviously, like King Cobra didn't, but like there were some sleepless nights. Like
Yeah.
I was looking at my thing, like, do I really what I want to do with my life? Like, where I'm sleeping above a King Cobra.
Wait,
Um,
hold on. How long was the king cobra there?
Dude, I don't know. I don't even know. I think it was like 17 or 20 feet is what they said. It was a pretty established, comfortable King Cobra. They've been there for a long time. And what epidemiologists, I don't think that's the right word. Whatever, and the biologists that they looked at it and they're like, we don't want to bother this. Should not take it out.
Oh,
Thank you for listening to the Success Journey Show. Please follow us on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at The Success Journey Show. Also, check out our website at thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of the show.
man.
I'm gonna tell you, it's crazy. I was on TQ, so we're the second set of Marines in TQ,
Okay.
and in 05, 04, right before Phantom Fury, and we're running down this, we're PTing, and they're like, "Hey, you guys got to stop running down to I think it was Lake Avenida," and we're like, "Why we got to stop running there?" They're like, "Yeah, there's a den down there of hyenas, and we found some human remains in there. You guys might want to stop running down there." Yo, let me tell you something, Rick. If you have never got attacked by a pack of wild dogs
Oh my goodness.
at night in Iraq, those things go across the desert like a bat out of these guys, and they come in a big pack, and they're like, "Arr!" And we have a weapon. We're like,
Did you shoot him?
so
It's just your imagination. You little
hey, I don't want to be where Michael Vick was. You know what I'm saying?
But did you shoot him? Marlon, did you shoot the hyenas?
No. We didn't. We scared them off.
Oh.
Beas. Oh man, I gotta bring on my boy Beas one time. Beas was like, "Man, what in the heck is going on?" We're like, "Yo, bro, we can't walk nowhere. Hyenas on base, wild dogs on base. Oh my goodness, this was crazy."
So,
Yeah.
okay, I will give you a third story. This is a fun one. And just because it's International Women's Day,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you guys having me this day to record.
Yes.
Freaking awesome. I don't even know if that was planned. It was awesome. But one of the deployments I had,
Was planned.
and it was pretty intense. We thought we were gonna get Osama bin Laden, and I was the last to make sure they checked off their risk so they could lower their risk, whatever.
Yeah.
And we were on our way up to meet them. Anyway, we stopped intermittently at a base. And I looked at my crew and I'm like, listen, dudes, like it was a 24-hour day. I'm like, I've been up for 24 hours. I've been flying this thing for 24 hours. Like we just call it. They're like, yes, you're right. So we call it, we go to the mayor. You remember mayors, Marlon, like the mayor of the bases, the
Yep.
army thing. I don't know what the heck that
Yeah,
was.
they say mayor. We call it the
Quartermaster
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll remember the name.
It's all good. So we went to the mayor and they're like, hey, listen, Captain, that was me at the time, Captain Aupke can go sleep in quarters across the base by herself in the women's quarters. And the guys are going to be over here by the chow hall, everything. And, and as we're like sitting there with the mayor, like this big freaking, I don't know, like what you call the biggest unit of Marines you can imagine, like they're marching back on base. They had been out in the field for 6 months. Okay. And they had their weapons, all that stuff. Okay, so I'm a captain, and I'm looking at these Marines, and I'm just seeing like I don't know, hunger. I don't know what hunger was for, but like they were out in the field for like 6 months, and I look at my crew and I'm like, dudes, like I'm not sleeping alone. And I look at the mayor. I'm like, hey, does the women's tent have locks on the inside? He's like, no,
You're looking for
locks
them
on.
bars.
Yeah, I was like, lock. He said, no, it locks on the outside though. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what your audience is, but I was like, no, I am not sleeping alone in a tent by myself that only locks on the outside. Like, I don't know what you're like. They're like, we have this whistle for you. I'm like, no, this whistle's not gonna work for me. So I had my crew stay with me in my quarters, in my tent. And we made a circle. They had their guns on them. They're like, all dudes, just surrounding me. I was like, I'm not sleeping by myself in this tent. So that was another time when I was like, you know what? Like, I don't understand what it is about the military that they don't get, that like me being by myself, being in charge of all these guys should maybe have a little bit better protection.
Yeah.
When we have guys.
I mean, that brings up another whole stream of conversation, because I've never had the conversation or even talk through what that looks like of being a female, a woman in the Marines, and not the Marines, in the military, and just some of the things that you have to deal with, or things that you have to think about, right? And I don't know how deep we want to go with it, but it's just a matter of even just the awareness of what you had there, of your surrounding, and be like, hey, I know I got to make a decision right here that, like I rather, have my guys that know me, that I know will protect me, around me, versus me be alone in that space, because I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
But it then begs me to ask, and I don't know how much this is talked about, but what if you didn't have your guys there? Like, how many people are going through that space of, hey, I'm uncomfortable. Is there some levels of provisions for me in my discomfort?
So I love this. Thank you so much for asking that. I even today, I was going through, I don't know how much you guys, I mean, I love Instagram reels. I think they're hilarious, especially because I pick up on a lot of like things that are bucking against the cultural norms, right? And there were 2 specifically today that I thought were just amazing. The first one was this comedian chick who's talking about like, hey, you know what? I am a very successful woman and I work at night, and I really just want a partner who will like, I want to have kids. So he has to stay home at night while I go. So like he can't have a job. But I don't want a guy who doesn't want a job. Like that sounds disgusting. Like he's going to sit on the floor and eat crumbs and smoke weed. Like that's not what I want. Like I want a guy who wants to have goals, right? I want a guy who wants to have goals, who's like heart charging, who's going to take care of himself, who wants to make the best of life. But I want him to give all that up so I can have my career. Right. And how much is that of like and because I've been around men all my life. Like, how much have I heard that over and over and over again in my career field from the guys I work with? And I mean, God bless them, but that's just the social norm. And for a chick to say that, like, oh no, like you can't expect
yeah.
Like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how dare you expect him to give up his whole life to be with you? But you know, like that's the nucleus family in the military. And I mean, that I'm just in a microcosm. I don't know what it's like on the outside for a lot of other women, but that's just my personal experience. The other is a great one was, what if women get more rejected by men? And so it shows a woman at the gym talking to a guy on a spin bike, and she's like, hey, you know, you could really get a lot hotter if you like just pedal a little bit faster. I'm really looking for a guy who can take care of kids, who's going to make really great kids. Like, you're just not doing it for me. And like, just the dynamic of like, she's speaking to him as he's the woman. And he needs to bring up his game to mate with her. I was like, it's just genius. And I mean, to your point, Ricky, and you know, and I don't mean to throw anything in anybody's face, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of cultural norms in our society. And I mean, I say this very lightly, and I do not mean this, but I say I blame our mothers, because they raised our sons to be my partner, right? Like, they could have done a little bit better. I say it's totally lightly, but at the same time, like, we have created the society where there's things that are culturally normal for men to expect of women. And if women expect the same of the opposite gender, like all of a sudden it's like, we're just offensive.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so back to your point there, and that's the bigger picture, but to go to the microcosm of my life in the military, like when I would deploy, they'd hand me a whistle and they'd be like, hey, you know, just, you keep this whistle on you all the time.
You blow it
when you're being attacked. And I'm like, you are really sanctioning me being attacked by giving me a whistle. Like, I have a gun. I'm going to shoot that.
Exactly.
You know, if you think that me blowing a whistle is what's going to, like, the attack is already happening. You're saying it's okay for him to attack me. Just come save me when I'm being attacked. I'm like, no, like, you should really be encouraging these women to kill the person that's trying to attack them, because there is a space in the military for deviance. There is a space where these men and women are not mentally stable, can perform deeds that are not okay. And we really have got to be honest and have that honest conversation.
We see it in Fort Hood, right?
Yes.
Fort Hood.
We have got to uncover it and say, you know what, like, that is, and that's not us. Like, that's not our culture. We have got to get those people out so we can actually perform our duty, instead of giving our potential victims whistles.
Yeah. You know, Ricky and I, we did a podcast about the whole John Moran thing, and we're talking about climate. A lot of people set that climate in their unit, and they kind of, I don't know why. I don't want to speculate why they do it, but they set a climate in their unit where, like you're saying, okay, she has a Jen doesn't feel safe. She has a whistle, right?
Right. Thank you. Right. Like, how do we make her feel safe instead of like, let's address what's not making her feel safe?
Correct. Yeah. She had the whistle. Why is she worried about blow the whistle when she gets attacked?
Yeah.
But she's getting okay. All right. Yeah. Roger that, sir. Right. So it's very. It's a bad, Rick. So I sit down. I'll tell you how I deal with my females in the Marine Corps, and I talk to them sternly about, if you have a boyfriend that's a civilian, he has to learn very quickly that your best friend might be a dude. He has to learn very quickly that you're going to be around dudes 24/7. Yeah. Do not have him thinking whatever, but that's him. It depends on the person's thing. So that's one thing I talked to them about. The next thing I talked to them about is, when everybody's in the barracks drinking and they're just drinking crazily, and I know we're supposed to be in a melancholy world where everybody's just nice and everything, and you're in the military and you're safe. watch who you drink around, watch whose room you're in. There's a lot of things that I think we just have to talk to them about, because they come into the military and you would think everybody's in the military, they're
Safe.
a good they're safe. Everybody's my brother. We're a band of brothers, right? But that's not the case. Like you said, there's deviants. There's people in here that are sick.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the problem is that we don't call them out. And I think that's part of the military problem, is that we want everybody to feel accepted, right? Like, and I'm not talking about this current cultural thing where we need to accept everybody. That's not what I'm talking about. This goes back to like hundreds of years where because the military, we're kind of we try to create this, like, everybody is accepted. Everybody can be in this. Everybody can be part of this military, and they can be. And it's been a great part of our culture. But at the same time, like, when someone shows just that
behaviors,
tiny bit of deviance, like,
Like
when you're out at the bar and like your one bro is just like super intense on this woman and will not leave her alone, like, we don't call him out. We don't say, hey, dude, that's not okay.
Correct.
Instead, we're like, hey, let's just go focus on something else. Like, instead of like, and this is what I love about my community, like my brotherhood, like, we shame people. We pride ourselves on shaming people, right? Like we make sure like you feel like the dumbest person in the room, no matter what, if you especially are out acting outside of our norms. That's been one of the best things about being a combat search and rescue person. But when it comes to like the military writ large, I just feel as though we try to push too hard this, like, we have to accept everybody as what they are, especially, and of course it's complex, and we're like we're putting a lot into like a certain thing. But like, I wrote an article on LinkedIn and I would love everybody to read it. I'm sure it's very controversial about, like, I said that light tacking is still hazing. And that's the idea back in, like, the Secretary of the Air Force said no more tacking rank on, right? Like, and I don't know where the Marines stand on that anymore.
Yeah, the same thing. They don't want us to do it anymore.
Yeah, like the whole punching your rank into your chest, or punching your rank into
I got snake bites right here. I got my snake
bites, right? That's a point of pride. However, like, the stories I heard of my airmen when I was a commander of like being totally abused, like these young people that have like don't have voices. They can't say, hey, I'm uncomfortable. They're being the senior leaders, senior enlisted, are putting them in these situations where they all have to take these punches, right? Like, and if you don't take these punches, you're not tough enough. And I mean, God bless every of our military people, everyone that signs up, like, they're heroes in my mind. However, there are people that fight across the line, and there are people that fight back in the barracks. And I feel like we try to make the people in the barracks feel like they're tougher to match what we are doing over the line. Right? Like, it's controversial. I know. God bless everyone that signs up. I love everybody. But at the same time, like, when you read the article and you read all the comments, I got 40,000 comments, and a lot of them from like people that were their support. And they're like, they called the people, they were calling me a snowflake. And I'm like, dude,
yeah.
That's cool. It's cool, bro. Like, you think that I'm a snowflake because I'm saying don't beat up on people they don't have voices. But the most people that supported me in that were the special forces guys and the Marines, and the guys who've been out there in this shit, who've been shot at, and who have like actually had to face death.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm pulling a string that's probably going to reach.
No. This is we talk about anything on here.
Yeah.
Definitely. So you being and I know your community, just like my community. It's well, almost every community in the Marine Corps is is male centric, right? But being a female pilot, were the guys looking down on you? I know at first you have to, but I'll let you answer that, because I think everybody have to earn their stripes, kind of thing. But I know that the female portion plays into. I don't know your experience of. Were they accepting, like, oh yeah, let's go fly a mission, because two. Well, you guys fly two beside each other, two.
Yes.
The twins. Okay, so hey, your wingman today is Jen.
It's cute. I wasn't gonna play that game.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna play the game. I didn't care. Like, I walked in the middle of the hallway. I drove a diesel truck, a stick diesel truck. Like, I just wasn't gonna play the game. Like,
Yeah.
the guys tried to say some really condescending things to me, like, "Oh, you did all right for a girl." I'm like, "Shut the up. I did really good. Period."
Yeah.
Like, even as a lieutenant, like, they'd look at me like, "What do you mean?" Like, no, 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 no. I know my worth. And I'm not playing this game. Like, it's cute. Like, you want to project all your insecurities on me, but like, that's all you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
congratulations. Thanks for letting me know what your insecurities are. I'm going to use that against you. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to play. I mean, and I mean, I think that I gained a lot of respect because I taught that a lot to the girls that were coming behind me. Like, it's very easy. And I think this culture of like women empowerment, I'll tell a great story about women empowerment here in a second, but like that it teaches us, it tries to tell women that they don't belong, when really, like, who cares if you belong or not? Just show the up. Just show up. Like, if you don't belong, you will attrit. Like, you will attrit naturally. But if you think you belong and you do belong, you will belong. Like, I don't care what this is. So, and this is my fun story about women's empowerment. Like, I was at Moody Air Force Base in 2016. Everybody can look that up. We had Jen Short, who's an A-10 pilot, as our wing commander. Our MSG commander was another amazing, strong woman. And for some reason during this month, March, our wing decided to have a women's empowerment run. And so I did not run in that run. I don't think I was the DO, right? Like, I was the director of operations of one of our largest squadrons in rescue. I don't like it. So one of the guys, and I feel bad, like, I should probably not tell the story, but, and I hopefully, if he hears this, like, I think he's a great human, and I appreciate him supporting women's empowerment. He meant the best. But he was running and he came back and he had a medal on his chest. He was a civilian. And he walks in the office. He's like, and I see his medal. I'm like, "Hey, what was that from?" And he's like, "Oh, I did the women's empowerment run, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "The women's empowerment run?" He's like, yeah, I want to empower women. I really think you guys can do great things. And I was like, you work for me, right? Like, you work for me, and you took an extra couple hours to go do this run. And there's things that we have to do to get done and turn in. I mean, if you wanted to
Empower me on that. Empower me on that.
if you want to empower me, like, you could go sit down at your desk
and
and
do
do
the work.
things that I asked you to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, and by the way, like, our wing commander is a female, and she's killed people with the A-10. Like, she's pretty empowered. Like, she gets in her jet and she's got big guns you will never get to shoot. So
I think that's pretty empowered.
Pretty empowered. And our mission support group commander, who is in charge of the largest portion of our group, of our whole unit, of our whole base, she's a chick. So, like, what did you think you were empowering by running to win your medal? And and our first sergeant's like, "Oh, I gotta leave. I'm not comfortable in this." And I'm like, "Oh, no, you're staying right here." I was like, "I tell you what, guys, next year, I want to have a men's empowerment run. Like, I want you guys to feel like you are the strongest men that have ever gotten behind your computer to do the task that I have told you to do." God, you're just like, "Oh." What is that? Not what you guys are doing, you know?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Now, Rick.
So where, just listening to your story, where are you now, like today, as at all the things that you've gone through? And I'm saying that because I just went on LinkedIn after you said LinkedIn. I said, "Oh, let me pull her up and make sure I'm connected to you and see that article and everything." But where are you now with everything that you've done, everything that you're doing? For one, we didn't even ask, are you still serving? One,
Yes.
are you in service? And then tell us some of the things in your role now. Like, what do you do on an everyday basis?
So I'm the Chief of Personnel Recovery and Special Operations Forces, which is my favorite because I'm in charge of all the dudes that think that they're better than me or that I don't belong, which is hilarious, right?
Yeah.
I show up and especially the guys that are insecure that are like, well, why are you in chief of special operations forces? I'm like, because I'm special operations and I did a lot of shit. Anyway, those guys who usually are insecure about that are not dudes who have actually been in the shit with me, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But I created my nonprofit with my co-founder Carrie Worth. She's also a spec op. She was a part of JSOC pilot. Amazing thing. She works for NASA now. And it's called the Milieux Project, and I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about it. We connect girls to aviation, but right,
yes.
a good elevator like speech right there. But we only see aviation as a vehicle to really getting young people, girls especially, but all young people, to seeing like what their real true capabilities are. Like like as Betsy Coleman put out back in the 1919s, early on, she would have been the first female pilot if it wasn't for Amelia Earhart being able to train in the United States. She had to go to France, so she was just a few months behind. But like, as she said, like there's no better equalizer than the airplane. Like it doesn't care what you look, if you're man, woman, what color you are, it doesn't matter. Like you get up there and you've got to land it, and there's an empowerment in that. And so Milieux Project is we want to change while we're connect girls to aviation, we also are focused ultimately in changing that narrative around gender, as many of those stories I just told, right? Like just to think about things in a different manner, from a different perspective than what we normally, we go day to day and just don't even understand our assumptions about things. And we just want to challenge that with that. So, we would love people to just take a look at our website. There's a beautiful video of a young girl who's flying. It will cheer anybody up on any bad day. It's called the milieux.org. Please go check it out. And it's MILIUEUX. So MILIUE. I can't even spell it. So anyway, it's the French word.
It'll be in our
We'll make sure
down below.
Notes.
Yeah. They'll get a chance to do that. Well, yeah, man.
Yes.
I'm not cutting you off. I really want to hear about this.
Oh, it's good. No, thank you. And so it's the French word for the cultural, societal, atmospherics environment, which we just thought played well with flying. So I really appreciate your support there. But yeah, my day to day is just trying to make and to talk about military things, right? Like we're in an existential crisis in the military trying to figure out, Marlon, I know the Marines have capitalized on that. They're already moving to cyber, which is genius. But like for the ground pounders that have been low intensity conflict, like I just, that's where we are. We're trying to figure out how like we can be terrestrial space communicators or something, like trying to figure out the next step of what, these special operators who are incredibly talented and amazingly trained are superhumans in my mind. How do we utilize them in the next 5th gen war? Because they're not going away. That capability is still necessary. So I mean, for my day, that's where my brain is every day.
When's the last time you flew? Are you flying anytime these days?
I still do fly. August was last time. I'm trying to get back out, but I don't know, but there's a high altitude course that my colleagues are doing in Colorado here in July. I'm hoping to hop on. So
nice.
Definitely.
Nice.
You probably I gotta jump in the back of one of your copters one of these days and
come on,
fly me around.
Good. Come on, let's do it.
Definitely.
I'm still, man, don't hold your breath on that. I'm still trying to get this guy to skydive. I'm still trying to get this guy to skydive. Let me tell you. Don't hold your breath on that.
Check this out.
You know what I mean? These Marines here, Jen, I tell you.
Big game.
Check this out,
man. Talk a big game.
We're going to interview
Success Journey Show. We will be back.
So the next episode is going to be Marlon and Ricky jumping out, and if you don't see that, then
that's what I said. That's what we should do.
Exactly.
That's what we should do.
Need a vote.
Exactly.
That's what we should do. Rick, you down?
Exactly. Yeah, I've been down, man. I've been waiting for like 4 years for you to be ready.
Hey, Jen. So we're like, yo, listen. We're gonna when the podcast first start off, we get a great opportunity to interview Tito Ortiz. I don't know if you know Tito Ortiz, MMA fighter, one of the first started, right? So we fly out to Cali, and we're going there. So one of my boys, he's in the Marine Corps, but he's also diving instructor, skydiving instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, hey, bro, we're coming out there. Can we do a tandem jump with you? Me and my boys coming out. He's like, yeah, sure. I was like, all right. So we get out there. I'm like, yo, Rick, tomorrow, yo, we have this all set. Rick is like, man, weather.
Nah. Jen, he's telling his version.
He's telling
his version. I'll tell mine next.
But we gonna get him. We go get him. And my neighbor right here, he's retired Army. He jumped out of planes too. He was a master jumper. So he was like, yo, anytime you're ready to go. And right by Ricky's house, they're always jumping out there.
So Jen, right? Let me put some more clarity around this, right? And I'm gonna let you come to your own conclusion.
And I told him I'll pay.
Here we go. No, here we go. Ready? Watch this, Jen. He just said his neighbor is a master jumper and said he'll jump anytime he's ready, right? He's been neighbors with this guy for years. How many? Now the whole I know there's a lot of places to jump in that area. He knows. So I'm gonna let you come to your own conclusion there. You know, I don't know.
You know what? No, I'm gonna say this. If you guys don't have a jump video after the end of this podcast, like I don't want to be published with you.
Hey, this is women empowerment, not men empowerment.
I'm all about men's empowerment, my friend. There's not a jump video after this. Like I don't want.
Do not publish this without a jump, please. Hey, you know what?
We got to jump.
I'll sign us up. We'll get that ticket to the iSky.
Yeah, fly high place where you go to the tunnel.
We'll go do a tunnel. Let's do a tunnel together.
Yeah.
But hey, we're not. You're not posting without like you jumping at the end of this.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, now I have one last question before you go. So, and this is because I know you're busy. You're a busy lady. You know what I'm saying? So, I want to ask this question because I want to see. I have my thoughts, right? So, they're like, hey, we need more females in broadcasting. Correct? Okay. And then what you'll see a pretty lady, but she's reading off a script as a female, and then you have one that did broadcast that knows everything about football, like could call the jersey, everything. She knows everything, but they give the other lady because of the pretty face. As a woman that's trying to go forward or move forward, or I don't know what to say. I don't want to say the wrong thing and let you punch me in my face the next time you see me.
Because you know I'm wrong. Okay. You're not.
Yeah. Here's your empowerment. Yeah. So how do you feel about that, and how do you approach that situation, or what do you say towards that?
Man, people are trying to make money.
Yeah.
Like it's money making at that point. Like. And that's a complex question, but I think for the broadcasting thing, like they're just trying to make money the most they can. I mean, that's why they had, what was that, Broad Street, a broadcaster for a long time on the NFL, like that blonde guy, like he couldn't talk. I mean,
yeah.
How many good-looking men were dumb that they just they're pretty, right? Like, so
put somebody that knows sports. That's how I feel. Because you can tell when that person's
not selling sports, man. They're not selling sports.
Marlon, put that time into reading a good book about philosophy or something.
Yeah.
It's so better. I don't want about sports. Just trying to make money. All distraction from like what's really going on in life. Buy more bullets. Don't worry about sports.
Hey. I'm telling you, this was fun. I could tell, it would be a great time.
Well, we can record again, and you don't have to talk about like skydiving, and then you won't have to have that as the end of the video. But I swear to God, if you post this, I will tell everyone. I will make comments. I'll repost it on all my social media. Be like, yo, this was supposed to end with them skydiving, and they didn't.
Hey. in your words, if it makes us money, shoot, go ahead and do it.
Awesome.
No.
We'll have to have prettier broadcasters than you guys, though.
Yeah, exactly. Like, man, we're not gonna fit the bill. I got to put the blush, the blur, clean my face up thing on my screen here real quick. You know, I already got the background blurred. I didn't want to blur my face too because I look like,
You guys are way fun. This has been way fun.
This was way fun. Hey, have you ever had an all-female crew?
No. Why?
No. I was asking because I know they did something. The Marine Corps had one.
Yeah. The Navy over the Super Bowl with all females.
Yeah, and the Super Bowl they did an all-female crew, which I thought it was cool. Just because I have 2 daughters, and I try to tell my son played basketball, she plays basketball, she does what she want to do. I'm Ricky have all sons.
man,
Ricky, keep your sons away from my daughters.
all boys.
Or else they'll kick their ass.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man, Jen, man, this has been amazing.
Thank you guys.
Really,
I think we laughed a lot more than your last guest, so I'm just saying. And he was Navy, and this is another reason why they're.
Hey Tim, if you're watching this, I didn't set none of that up, bro. Top gun.
You gotta make sure he sees it. You gotta make sure he sees this.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. Jen, I'm gonna ask you one last question, and we'll let you go here this evening. It was a question that we asked most of our guests. If you can go back to a point in life where you had 60 seconds to pull yourself aside, and with the wisdom, understanding, life experiences you have now, like what would you say to that young Jen? And I'll let you pick that moment that you will go back to. And there's no right or wrong answer, of course, but just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Don't get married.
Gotcha. Simple. Like, I only needed 5 seconds.
You are trying to start a whole nother podcast. So hey people, stay tuned for part 2. Part 2.
Yes, sir. Listen, Jen, appreciate you. And to all of our travelers and guests that are around the world, want to thank you for tuning in again for another week of the Success Journey Show. Listen, always remember you can go to our website, thesuccessjourneyshow.com, and check out all of our previous episodes. I got to get on Marlon because there's some old episodes on there now. He hasn't updated in a little while, but he's trying to earn his keep, man. We're moving him up the ranks every episode here. But just want to thank you guys for tuning in, joining in with us, and we'll see you guys next week at the same place, the same time on the Success Journey Show. Everyone have a good one. Peace.
All right, one love.
You've been listening to The Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.